Bosch Security Escort subscriber database. Subscribers are the transmitters, so let's go ahead and take a look at that. Under File, Subscriber Database, the first one that pops up is a search window. If you're adding, editing, or changing a subscriber or transmitter information, you can ignore this screen. If you have a transmitter you're searching for, at this point you would either put in some of the information so that you can search for specifically that transmitter. For what I'm going to show you, I'm going to hit cancel. This is the transmitter screen. On the right you have buttons that allows you to import, export, get statistics, insert a new transmitter, edit data, delete, search, or sort. If you search, it brings you right back to the same window that we just canceled out of. To insert a new transmitter, you select Insert New. At the top, you have System Type. For the system that we're currently working on, it is a transponder system. The required fields to add a transmitter is subscriber type, which tells you what is the transmitter. Is it an acknowledgement transmitter that resets the system? Is it a commuter, a facility, a resident, or a staff transmitter? Is it an installer transmitter? Is it a point type, which is typically used for security? Or is it a security transmitter, which is used for security guards? For this, we're going to go ahead and select staff. Does this person have any disabilities? Is this transmitter a silent transmitter? Is it disabled, meaning that I don't want it to give me any alarms? Is there currently any supervision time? This would come into play with the SE3 or the SE88 transmitters where they have the 30 or 90 second supervision. The name of the person is required, so we're just going to go ahead and add a name. Address, city, state, zip is optional. This was kind of set up originally for college campuses. That's why they have the name of the person and then you have a home address. The subscriber ID is a unique identifier, typically student ID, employee ID, or a identifying number that can be searched by later. The transmitter ID is the ID off the transmitter. We're just going to go ahead and make one up right now. Alarm zone. This is where you can segregate alarms to go to specific PCs. We'll get into that at a later date. The alarm background color. This is the color that is in the alarm screen window. It helps people visually identify what type of an alarm it is. Is it a person alarm? Is it a building alarm? Is it an environmental alarm? You can segregate those by colors. Optionally, you can select male, female, height, weight, or height, feet and inches, build, hair color, eye color. If you want, you can also associate an image to the alarm screen so that when the alarm happens, it pops up not only the person's information, but an image of the person. After you have that information in, you can go ahead and hit save. If you don't have all the required information, it'll identify that you didn't fill out something, and then you can go ahead and select retry. It'll take you exactly to the field that wasn't filled in. If you have a transmitter ID that is a duplicate, and you never should, that'll also flag as an error and you can retry and put in a different one. And that's how you save a transmitter. Hit cancel to close. Bosch Security Escort, subscriber database, point type. If you click on File and Subscriber Database, and you hit Cancel out of the search screen, and you hit Insert New in the subscriber database, select the correct system that you're working on, which in this case is Transponder, and you select the transponder type of point type, as identified in an earlier video. This is specifically for security type items, either door, window contacts, motion detectors, boiler, HVAC, integrating with other third-party systems. It does have an optional supervision of 1 hour. You do need to put in a name, so we're going to just go ahead and make up a name called Door Contact. Subscriber ID. In this case, as a unique identifier, I'd probably put door and the number of the door. Transmitter ID, as I'm not using an actual transmitter for this, I'm going to go ahead and make up a new transmitter ID. Because we're making a point type, and I want these specific points to go to a specific computer, which will be discussed in a later video, I'm going to go ahead and uncheck all of the zones except for zone 4. I'm going to also change the background color to light blue. So this pretty much sets up just like any other normal transmitter. This is where you specifically specify what the point type is going to do, and that is under Advanced. In Advanced, when you have a point type, it enables these boxes. Do you want to enable the read switch, which would be ideal if it was a door or window contact with the transmitter directly attached to the frame of the door? Are you using the internal terminal strips where you have a contact tied to it? In this case, this is what we're going to have. So I want a treble on short, and I want an alarm on open. You can also put an optional text to add words to the alarm screen so that the responding officer has a better idea as to what is going on with this zone when it goes into an alarm. At this point, if I hit done, when this device goes into an alarm, it will triangulate where that alarm is and update its alarm every 7 seconds. Well, I've already indicated that this is a door, so I don't need to have it triangulate this type of alarm. For this case, we're going to go ahead and say that this is a fixed location. So I'm going to select a floor number. Map number 0 is typically my floor 1, but however you set it up, make sure your floor number and your map number correlate together, and then you select Locate. After you select Locate, you'll get a crosshair. Now, to place this transmitter in a location, you have to right-click. So I want to say it's this door. I wouldn't put the crosshairs in the middle of the door and right-click. The dot that shows up is in the bottom right-hand quadrant, as shown now. After I right-click and release, I go back to the main screen. You'll notice that it gave me my X and Y position on this map of where that alarm has been plotted, and then I go ahead and select Done. Now every time that this transmitter goes into an alarm condition, it'll show up in the same spot. Hit Save, and I have a duplicate key. and then you can hit cancel to close. Bosch Security Escort, subscriber database, different subscriber types. Under the subscriber type, there are 5 different types of subscribers. There is the acknowledgement subscriber. What this does is, when you select acknowledgement, put in all the required information, name, subscriber ID, transmitter ID. When you activate this transmitter, it will reset the system from any active alarms. Installer is specifically just for installers for testing purposes. Security is just another classification. It runs similar to installer, as is typically a silent alarm. Point type, which we talked about earlier, that is the transmitter that is a zone input. And then all of the rest of them are used for segregating reports, which is why they're named differently, but just a standard alarm. So facility, resident, staff, watchman, or a visitor, and commuter are standard users for standard alarms. The only reason they have different names is so that you can segregate them in a report. Bosch Security Escort, subscriber database, assigning transmitters to a transponders area. So what we have here is a standard transmitter. Let's just say it's an SC88 attached to a dementia patient. And this dementia patient is supposed to stay inside the memory care section of a facility. So you have your subscriber type of resident, the name of your subscriber ID, and your transmitter ID. When you click under Advanced, you'll see that most everything is grayed out except for the very bottom down here, under transponder name and transponder area. If you select a transponder, you can then select an area in that transponder, and at that point, after you select the transponder and the area in the transponder and select Done, and then hit Save and Cancel to close, that transmitter is now assigned to that area, and the next time that transmitter's supervision window checks in, if that transmitter is located anywhere else in the facility aside from the area that it's assigned to, it will give you a wandering alarm. Bosch Security Escort, subscriber database, creating a check-in transmitter. A check-in transmitter is used for independent living scenarios where you have a resident that lives by themselves, but they are health-wise in the age bracket where there could be a concern on if they were to get injured or get sick and not able to get up and get help. So this is usually a motion detector that is installed between the bedroom, the bathroom, and the kitchen to identify that the person has gotten up and has walked around and that they're all okay for the day. You do this by creating a transmitter called point type, which is the universal input. You give it a name. Let's just say it's room 301. Under the subscriber ID, which is the unique identifier, let's go ahead and put RM301. Under transmitter ID, I'm just going to go ahead and create a fake transmitter ID. Under Advanced, we're going to go ahead and alarm on shorted loop and that's just motion active. And we're not going to have a loop open. At this point, we're going to go ahead and select an alarm group to tie this to a schedule, and that this requires check-in. At this point, you hit done, you hit save, and now you have just created a check-in transmitter for an independent living scenario. Bosch, Security Escort, File, Subscriber Database. This is the search menu screen that pops up. We're going to go ahead and hit cancel out of that. Insert new. What we're going to do at this point is we're going to auto learn a transmitter that does not have the transmitter ID. This is going to be used for the transponder system. We're going to make this a staff transmitter. We're going to put the name of the person. The only required fields is subscriber type, what type of system it is, subscriber type, name, subscriber ID, and transmitter ID. Those are the only required fields. The subscriber ID is a unique identifier. We're just going to go ahead and make up one. Under transmitter ID, this point you would go ahead and test the transmitter you want to learn. You see that it automatically pops up the number, and then you go ahead and press Control V to paste that number in because it automatically gets copied to your clipboard. The receiver that receives this signal has to be the receiver closest to you. I'm going to go ahead and hit save right here. Alright, hit cancel. It has to be identified in the ID receiver section of the Security Escort software. So, under Test Transponder, under point 0, that is the closest receiver physically to me. That is the receiver that I used to make my ID receiver, which populated that number in the subscriber database. Bosch, Security Escort. I test my transmitter, and I get fails on my screen. The fails that you see here is that a transmitter was transmitted or tested or reset, and that the received transmission to these receivers are to a transmitter that is not programmed in the system. To fix this, that means that you have to learn in the transmitter using the subscriber database.